Hi, Annette. This is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and this is your pretty Kenmore. And this is the final test before we pack her up to ship her out to you. And in this test, we're going to go over the basic operation of the machine, how to thread it, how to wind the bobbin, and how to work the various controls. And so, without further ado, let's do that. Let's wind the bobbin. Your bobbin is down here below the needle plate, and you can reach it this way, but it's easier if you just slide the bed off and open the little door. Your bobbin case has a latch on it. Pull the latch out, and as long as you're holding the latch, the bobbin won't drop out. So let's pull the thread off of here. Wind some new thread on. Let's see. Your bobbin winder is here. Let's move this one out of the way. So put your spool on the spool pin, go under the right side of this thread guide here, and under the spring-loaded discs of the bobbin winder tensioner, then back to the bobbin winder. Put this thread through one of the holes in the side of the bobbin. Press it down on, push the lever over, and plug the machine in. There we are. Declutch your machine by turning the knob in the center of the hand wheel towards you a quarter turn or so until you feel it hit its stop. And now the hand wheel can spin and spin the bobbin winder without making the whole machine run. So make sure the machine is on, hold the thread on the top, and give it a little gas. Okay, that should be plenty for our test. And reclutch your machine by tightening the knob in the center of the hand wheel. Flip the lever out, lift your bobbin off, and with the thread coming off the bobbin in this direction, drop the bobbin in the bobbin case and direct the thread up into this little slanted slot in the side and up under the leaf spring until you feel it click into place. And that leaf spring there is your lower tension. If you ever need to change your lower tension for special fabric or whatever, this little screw, just turn in tiny increments one way or the other, clockwise to add more tension and counterclockwise to loosen the tension. Hold the latch, and with this little finger pointing up, slide it onto the post in the center of your hand, bobbin race, and make sure it goes in all the way, good and tight. And then, let's see, to thread the machine, put your spool on the spool pin, go into the other side of the thread guide, on the back here, go into the left side of it, across to the curly Q thread guide on the front, and down between the discs of the tension assembly all the way around till you pick up this little thin check spring, and keep going until your thread goes into the notch at the top. Go into this big thread guide above the tension assembly, and then through the take-up lever, the thing that goes up and down while you're sewing, from right to left. Go back down into this thread guide. Down to this thread guide. On the needle clamp. And then through the eye of the needle from the front to the back. And it's always a good idea to cut a fresh end on your thread, because the end of the thread, after a little bit of handling, tends to spread out a little bit and makes it harder to poke through the eye of the needle. If you have trouble seeing the eye of the needle, put a piece of white paper behind the needle and the eye becomes instantly visible. Now, holding your needle thread loosely, turn the hand wheel towards you one full revolution, and the needle will take the thread down where the hook will pick it up, wrap it around the bobbin, and bring up your lower thread. There it is, lower thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot towards the back of the machine. Let's put the bed back on this sewing. Be careful you don't trap your threads. And this is your stitch length. The 0 mark on this one is a letter B with a red square around it, and I have no idea what that means. But that's a 0 point. And turn it counterclockwise to make your stitches longer and longer. We're going to go with 12 stitches per inch, which is a good ballpark stitch length for regular thread and fabric. This is your tension assembly. When I put this machine together, I set it so that the average tension is going to be just about 3. Depending on the fabric you're sewing, you may want a little more or a little less tension. This outer knob here is your stitch width. It's also got your buttonhole on it. The red dot is the 0 mark, and from there, the width of your zigzag gets wider the further you turn it clockwise. It's marked from 0 to 5, and 5, of course, is your widest stitch width. The inner knob chooses between regular sewing and reverse stitches, stretch stitches, where your fabric moves back and forth and lays down multiple stitches for each stitch. The red side is regular stitch. The black side is stretch stitch, reverse stitch. We're going to stay on red for regular stitch, and this knob on the top chooses between straight stitch and zigzag. If you're in the red mode, it does a regular zigzag. If you're in the black mode, it does obviously multiple stitches at each stitch. This side has a blind stitch and something else where the blind stitch has a bar across the right side. I'm not sure what that stitch is called or what it's used for. But we're going to stay on straight stitch and zigzag. We're on red for regular. This is your pressure on your sewing foot. The outer ring here is your release. You press that down and the inner post pops up, and then you have little to no pressure on your sewing foot for when you want to move the fabric yourself for machine embroidery or darning and that sort of thing. And you'll also drop your feed by flipping this switch from the up position to the down position. In the down position, the teeth of the feed dogs drop below the needle plate and never come up and touch the fabric, so you're the one doing all the guiding. We're going to keep it in the up position so that the machine is moving the fabric. And of course, you don't ever want to push or pull on the fabric. You want to let the machine move it. Otherwise, you can flex your needle and make it miss the needle hole. That's not good for anybody. Probably shatter your needle and could possibly put your timing out. So yeah, let the machine move the fabric. About halfway down on this post is average pressure on your sewing foot. You want just enough pressure on the sewing foot to move the fabric along with authority without overdoing it, without too much pressure. This is your reverse. This is your on and off switch. I think that's it. I think we're ready to sew. Already tightened the clutch, so put your fabric under the presser foot, lower the presser foot using the lever on the back, and we're on 12 stitches per inch, regular stitch, 3 on the tension, and here we go. This is a really, really nice machine. So smooth and accurate, and quiet. That's a regular stitch. Let's put some stitch width on and do a zigzag. I'm going to just put it all the way up to the widest width. Okay, I gave you some wrong information on your stitch length. The B has got to stand for a basting stitch because it's your longest stitch length. And for shorter stitch length, you're going to turn the knob counterclockwise. The 0 point is marked with a dot. The satin stitch area is marked with a bar. Then it goes from 24 stitches per inch to 12 to 8. And obviously, the less stitches per inch, the longer they are. So, sorry about that wrong information there. And also, sorry about the the raspiness here. It's springtime and I'm experiencing some lovely springtime allergy things. Okay, so let's start over on that test. I'm going to go back to straight stitch. Do 12 stitches per inch on a straight stitch. And now I'm going to go 24 stitches per inch. Reverse. Forward. Reverse. Forward. Now we're going to add some stitch width. Do a zigzag. Now we're going to change from regular to reverse stitches. So for every forward stitch, it's going to go back 1 or 2 times and lay down extra stitches in the same spot. So here we go. Okay, need a little more stitches for that. And now zigzag reverse stitch. What a great machine. I love this machine. You can probably see this. This is a regular stitch, zigzag. Then down here is the reverse stitch. You can see it's much darker because the line is doubled. Or yeah, I think it's just doubled. I don't think it's tripled. So, looking good. And let's flip over to the other side. And we'll do a blind stitch. I'm going to go back to regular stitch. And yeah, we'll give it a wide blind stitch. And give it a little shorter stitch length. Not for any good reason, just because I want to. And if we go into the reverse stitch mode, it looks about the same except that it has a bar. Oh, wait a minute, no. It looks like a left-hand zigzag stitch cut vertically by a bar. I do not know what that stitch is for, but let's make it anyway. We're going to want a little more stitch length for that. So it doesn't lay down a double stitch in this case, but it does put that bar across one end, across the right side. Yeah, working good. Annette, thank you so much. We really appreciate your business. That's what helps us to keep doing what we love to do, which is bring these beauties back to life. I'll include this stitch sample with it, and I'll leave it threaded up too, in case you need a little guide. You may already be totally familiar with this machine, but you know, the information's there if you need it. So thank you so much.